Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of Experience Kills. Once again I'm brought by my fearless leader, Benjamin Hall.
Hello.
Hello, and we are bringing you HellSign. Now, this has been brought to you by Ballistic Interactive, which is an Australian indie company, and I think their aspirations are very, very high. Initially, I'm extremely into the game. I love the whole supernatural aspect of the entire game. You play as a kind of lone hunter or a scout, depending on who you're talking to at the time of the game. And you go into areas just to see what's there. If there are any ghosts or any ghoulies, anything weird supernatural that needs to be taken care of before either people can sell their house or cleanup crews go in. You sort that out before they all come in, and that's what gets you money.
So there's not more of a framing device. You're just going to places because they might be needed.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean,
that's odd. I mean, it should point out this is in early access, so I suppose a lot of this could change.
Yes. I mean, as far as the game is, it starts off, you kind of wake up from having a horrible nightmare, thinking you might have died last night, with this horrible brand tattoo on your back you have no idea of getting. You pop some pills, you answer a phone call, and on your way to your next job, and that's it to start off the whole story.
Okay, alright, okay, because I've watched a bunch of videos about this and read some stuff up on it, and I thought it was something like, I don't know, like Ghost Hunters or Paranormal Lockdown or Most Haunted even.
Oh god, anything but that.
I want to play as Yvette, always.
Oh, Yvette Fielding. I'll throw her in there with a gun and see what happens.
Nothing good, I would guess.
Yeah, true. Is anybody there? Yes, there is. Because the first mission, I mean, this is set in Australia as well.
Right, okay.
You can tell by the dialect that the people use, which is a lot of swearing. There was a lot of, to be honest, I felt like it was a little bit too much. A little bit.
Wow, coming from you, too much swearing.
As a guy who used to work behind the scenes and not deal with customers in my previous jobs, yeah, you use those words a lot when you're not talking to people face to face. And I love it. I love swearing my T's off.
Nicely censored. Very good.
Yeah, no, I'll censor myself for you. But the first guy you kind of talk to, he straight up calls you the C word just for turning up late. And you're just like, okay, that came out of nowhere. And then when you finish the conversation, you go to get your gear to go into the house and everything. Him and his buddy who's standing there are just trading stories about this girl that he had been with the night before and how filthy she was, and being all proper. Yes, mate, she was filthy. And it's
but Australian, okay.
Sorry, yeah, more, mate, she was a bloody drongo.
Better.
Is that better? Yeah, sorry.
Accurate.
More accurate, yeah. And it just kind of feels like, well, that's a little bit unnecessary, a little over the top, personally.
Wow. I would never have thought of you as PC, so this is impressive that they've gone too far. They've crossed the line here for you.
Well, yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, like I said, I love anything adult related. You know, it's just for a game like this, I think it's just a bit too much.
Okay.
And as far as your character goes, you get a choice of kind of, I guess, classes is the word I'd use. You start off with individual perks that you can use. Start off with different equipment, or you can be a guy who walks in there with like a heavy machine gun to start off with, which is not really necessary, to be honest, at the very beginning of the game. And you go around using the equipment, basically like using an EMF sensor to locate any supernatural findings, using black lights to follow kind of blood trails and stuff, all to find kind of signs of the supernatural, which you can then sell when you get to a certain point, all for money. And of course you get some money at the end of the mission as well. But it didn't really seem to add up to much. It would require a lot of grinding to get a decent amount of money for your next upgrades, your next weapons and tools.
So how do you grind in this game? Do you go back to the same locations over and over and over?
you can fluctuate between different missions and everything, but like there are some levels as you progress through the game. You learn. That's the cool thing I will say. You will learn about different entities and what they're weak to, and you'll have to search clues using like a Necronomicon kind of looking thing, you know, proper Demon Hunter book. You have to attribute the signs that you found in the book to see what's actually haunting it, what's the best way to get rid of it. So if it's a banshee, for example, you'll have to bring ear defenders with you. You know, otherwise it just causes a lot more damage than you're able to take, essentially. And there might be some kind of ghoul in there that might be more damaging against heavy fire than it is like using a taser, for example, because you might need some electrical charge against it. You know, just little things. So you do have to kind of use your head to plan ahead for the mission, which is cool. Which is really nice.
Is there an overriding narrative, or is it just like isolated sort of missions that you just go on? I mean, it's again early access, so maybe there will be if there isn't already. But yeah, I'm curious.
There's a couple of different locations you go to, and some of the missions you might find are in the same place. You know, go over here, exterminate this creature. Go over here and investigate this. It's a big kind of hub world where you click on to go to certain locations. Also from that hub as well, you can also get in contact with people, other hunters in a bar as well for more information about jobs. A couple of shops as well to obviously get your equipment upgraded and stuff. The funny thing about that place is I always found that the art styling for those sort of places were a bit off. Just a little tad. I mean, because you can see the actual gameplay is very kind of... what's the way you would explain? I always attribute it to kind of a Diablo style of gameplay. Right. You know, you can run around.
So isometric, pulled back camera. That sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yet the art styling of like the people you talk to in shops and bars, they're all black silhouettes and you can't see them. It's all very art painted backgrounds. You can click on the silhouettes to talk to that person, which seems really weird because when you have a conversation with someone which is all text-based and point and click to your answer, they have a face. They have a photo for their face. They could have had that entire thing on a body, but they just kind of chose not to.
Okay, it sounds like we've got a few disparate artistic ideas here that aren't really gelling yet.
Another part of the art style as well, that's different from that part as well, the opening title sequence you have when you kind of wake up and start going about your business, is done in a very comic book style of art.
This sounds so peculiar.
Yeah, it's
so many different styles.
It's in panels.
Right.
Which I looked at it and I was like, the game started and I was like, well, this doesn't look like the trailer. And then like it went from that to this and I was like, what just happened? You know, it just didn't like mesh well. That's what I felt.
Okay. So how does the game like feel to play? I mean, you mentioned weirdly to me when I saw stuff about this, I thought, oh, you're going to be like looking for ghosts and hunting monsters. So I was thinking like crucifixes and I don't know, sort of special gadgets to deal with ghosts. But there's a lot of shooting in this.
Yeah, there's a lot of monsters in there that are things like giant spiders, for example, which, to be honest, are one of the most pain in the ass creatures you can come across. Not only is it kind of difficult to get the right angle to shoot everyone, it's kind of difficult to aim properly. They kind of move too fast for you to actually aim at, and by the time you get your lock onto it, it's just gone. You get a little, well, it can attack you. You get a kind of like a spidey sense feeling, the musical cue when it's about to attack, and you can dodge out the way and maybe get a shot or two in, but it's really difficult. And it just kind of depends on the monster, because there are some things out there where you can use traps to get them, and to get rid of the creatures in particular. Some of them are kind of weak to light, so you kind of rig the fuse boxes in the house and stuff. It's really cool. But you kind of start off with the very basics. Like I said, you use a black light to search for clues. Pardon me. And it just kind of depends what creature you're fighting.
It's weird. I mean, the game sounds like it's full of cool ideas, but it almost sounds like they need to sort of control it a bit more, rein it in, give it a focus.
Yeah, I think so as well. Because there's later on you're gonna have like more advanced bullets like silver nitrate to fight like demons, like actual formed demons, not just ghosts. It does get quite deep out there. So it's I think I know what they're going to be reaching for when the game comes to full release, and I hope that the weapons become more accessible for you in a story-based driven style, rather than just I have to keep grinding this to fight these guys, you know, because I get maybe, including all the signs I find and the mission complete, maybe $300, but my next weapon is going to cost me $4,000.
Right.
So yeah, and obviously the missions get more and more difficult, but you're going to have to keep grinding a lot to get anything that you're going to be able to kill anything with.
So yeah, progression could do with tightening up.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, difficulty curve's very, very steep.
Okay, but I mean, like, overall, I have to say it sounds and looks, I mean, like a really curious experience.
That's the thing, I will say, it does build the atmosphere quite well. When I'm actually in the house, where it's always stormy, there's always a light flickering somewhere which could indicate something. There's always something shuddering in the house. There's a lot of musical and a lot of sound cues out there that I'm moving around first time playing it, and I'm thinking, what was that? You know, the first foray into the supernatural, and suddenly something just flies off the shelf. You do just kind of have, even in this style of game, you sort of have a, oh Jesus Christ. You know?
Yeah.
So they do well at building the atmosphere.
I mean, yeah, to pull off horror in that perspective is impressive. Because you know, having it pulled back like that, you think, oh, I can see everything around me, you know, I'm going to be in control all times. But then to effectively evoke tension and to make you feel a little bit afraid, that's impressive, definitely.
Absolutely. I mean, as a good, I'm trying to think how long I've been watching the show for, but I'm a massive fan of Supernatural, and I kind of looked at it as like a supernatural RPG, you know? You'll love this, but I even named my character Dean Winchester.
Nerd.
Thank you. I'll take that, I'll accept that. I'll put the crown on King of Nerds. So that's what I kind of expected going in. I was a little bit disappointed with some of the things I found that I just didn't fully enjoy. But I do hope that some of these things do get changed around in the future. I'll come back to it, and they'll just be really nice improvements with a lot more story-based, you know, progression as well. And I'd really like to see it become something really cool.
So you're going to keep an eye on it. Do you know the roadmap? Do we have an ETA on full 1.0 release or anything like that? Or am I putting you on the spot and you're not sure?
Oh, you're definitely putting me on the spot. How dare you? I mean, they have been fixing it up and doing updates quite regularly, which is really nice to see. You know, that they are paying attention to a lot of the, you know, some of the problems that I'm sure the community have been finding and noticing. You know, otherwise they wouldn't do it. They're doing it every couple of weeks that I've seen. Little update on the system, little update here, you know, little patch here. So it's good. I'm actually listening.
Put it in perspective, I think it came out in early access towards the end of last year. So it's probably got a while yet.
So yeah, all I can say is good luck, Ballistic Interactive. I'll be keeping an eye on you. That's just going to be the end of the day with me and Ben. Thanks very much for joining me, Ben.
I love being here.
Yeah, sometimes I get the idea that you just kind of just sigh and get it done when it comes to me. You spend all your time with Richard doing your game reviews, and I'm sure you love it. But
that's not true. We've done plenty together, just the two of us.
Speaking of horror as well, Ben and Richard have just done a Resident Evil 2 podcast as well, and that game looks phenomenal.
It is, but this game looks like it's got the promise of being phenomenal. So just to tie it in, where can people find us, Cameron?
You can find Ben on Twitter at DIYE. You can find us on Twitter at Experience Kills, and you can find us all on YouTube on Experience Kills as well.
Just want to mention as well before we go, we are now on Spotify and iTunes. And yeah, so if you want to listen to the audio versions of these videos, if you don't have time to sit and watch the video, you know, if you want to listen on your commute and stuff, then yeah, you can do that on Spotify, which is what all the cool kids do. So go go subscribe on Spotify. Yes.
Could be like the cool kids, like the cool kids.
Bye.
I'm out. See ya.